In this video, I'm about to show you 10 napkin brands you should avoid at all costs and why, along with 5 that are actually better options and worth buying. Starting with number 10, Vanity Fair. Let's start with a brand that already wins your trust before you even touch it, Vanity Fair. The name alone sounds like something premium, something better than average. And honestly, that's exactly how most of us pick it up, not because we compared napkins, but because the branding quietly convinces us we've made the smarter choice. And that's the interesting part here. With products like this, you're not really choosing based on performance, you're choosing based on feeling. It feels softer. It looks cleaner. It sounds more refined, so your brain automatically tags it as high quality without asking any questions. But in real use, things get a bit more normal. It's still just a napkin. It absorbs, it wipes, it does the job, but not in some magical way that justifies the premium perception. A lot of what you're paying for is actually presentation, the texture, the branding, the idea that this is a more elevated everyday product. And that's where the consumer psychology comes in. We're not really tricked, but we are gently guided. The packaging, the name, the softness, all of it works together to make a simple product feel more important than it actually is. So, Vanity Fair isn't bad. It's just a perfect example of how everyday essentials can be dressed up so well that we stop questioning them in the first place. Number 9. Kirkland Signature. Let's be honest for a second. Most of us don't actually choose Kirkland. We just assume it's the right choice. You see that name under Costco, and your brain automatically goes, yeah, this is probably solid. No second thoughts, no comparison, just straight into the cart. And that's exactly where the psychology kicks in. Kirkland Signature isn't really a flashy brand with heavy marketing or emotional storytelling. It survives on something way more powerful: borrowed trust. The trust doesn't come from the napkin itself, it comes from the store it's in. And once that trust is transferred, we stop questioning anything. But here's what most people don't realize. Kirkland is a private label system, which means multiple large manufacturers can produce different products under the same name, as long as they meet Costco's quality standards. So you're not really dealing with one consistent brand identity, you're dealing with a controlled supply network. And in real use, the napkins are fine. They do the job, they're reliable, they don't fall apart easily. Nothing wrong there, but the gap is in perception. People don't evaluate Kirkland products like normal products. They evaluate them as they've already been approved by default. That's why it feels like a safe choice even when you've never actually compared it to anything else. Number 8. Great Value. Great Value is exactly the kind of brand that doesn't need to convince you with anything fancy because it already knows what kind of decision you're making. You're not here looking for premium quality. You're here looking for something cheap that just gets the job done. And that's where the positioning quietly works in its favor. Because the packaging is so plain, so unassuming, you don't even question it. There's no illusion of luxury, no emotional branding, no "this is better than others" energy. Instead, it gives you something much smarter: low expectation design. And once your expectations are low, disappointment almost disappears. But that doesn't mean the product exists outside the same industrial system as everything else. It's still part of the same large-scale manufacturing approach, where paper products are optimized for cost, bulk production, and basic functionality. That usually means thinner material, controlled absorbency levels, and a focus on acceptable performance rather than premium feel. And this is the part people miss. The trick is not to make you think it's the best. The trick is to make you stop expecting anything better. Once that happens, even average performance feels fine. So, Great Value isn't really selling you quality or luxury, it's selling you on acceptability at the lowest point of mental resistance. And when a product wins that space in your mind, you stop comparing it all together, not because it impressed you, but because it never asked to be judged in the first place. Number 7. Smartly. Smartly is one of those brands that almost feels invisible on purpose. You walk past it in the store, and it doesn't try to grab your attention. No premium design, no emotional storytelling, no "this is better than the rest" energy. And that's exactly why people lower their guard around it. Because here's the thing. When a product doesn't try to look special, we automatically assume it's just a simple, harmless, basic option. And that assumption is powerful. You don't question it. You don't compare it deeply. You just add it to the cart, thinking it's good enough. But Smartly isn't really built to compete on quality perception. It sits in that ultra-budget category where the main goal is not to impress you, but to stay accessible. And in that space, everything is optimized around cost efficiency, material choice, thickness, packaging, and even how long it holds up under normal use. In real life, that shows up pretty quickly. The product works for basic tasks, but it's not designed to feel premium, soft, or durable like higher-tier options do. It's functional, not expressive, useful, not memorable. And this is where the consumer pattern becomes interesting again. Brands like Smartly don't win because they're better. They win because they quietly sit in the background of your decision-making. No pressure, no expectation, no second thoughts, just a simple default option when you don't want to think too much. Number 6, essential every day. You've definitely seen a product like this sitting in your kitchen without ever really remembering when you bought it. Essential every day. The name itself doesn't try to impress you. It almost feels like it's telling you, don't think too much, just use me. And that's actually the first trick here. Nothing about it demands attention. No premium claims, no emotional branding, no effort to stand out. It's designed to feel like a default part of life rather than a choice you actively made. But that default feeling is powerful. Because when something feels like it belongs in your home automatically, you stop evaluating it like a product. Don't you ask whether this is good? You just assume it's normal. In reality, essential everyday napkins are built for basic household use. They're functional, simple, and cost-focused. The kind of product meant for quick cleanups, not for texture or a premium feel. You're not getting anything engineered for comfort. You're getting something engineered for convenience and affordability. And this is where it quietly works. The brand doesn't try to win your attention, it wins your acceptance. It becomes part of the background of your daily routine, where you don't even think of upgrading because it never asked you to compare it in the first place. Number 5, Genuine Joe. There's something funny about a brand like Genuine Joe. The name sounds like it's trying way too hard to feel trustworthy. Almost like it's saying, don't worry, I'm the honest one here. And that's usually your first clue in consumer products. When a name leans too much into genuine, it's often doing more marketing than explaining anything. You'll usually find Genuine Joe in office supplies, janitorial products, or bulk household essentials. It's not a brand that shows up in emotional advertising or lifestyle campaigns. It shows up where practicality matters more than presentation, in workplaces, schools, cleaning closets, that kind of environment. And that already tells you something about how it's positioned. This isn't about premium experience or comfort. It's about volume use, cost control, and getting the job done in environments where nobody is trying to enjoy the product. They just need it to work repeatedly and cheaply. In real use, the napkins are functional. They handle basic cleaning tasks, spills, and everyday messes without trying to feel soft or luxurious. But they're also not designed to give you that this feels nice to use experience. The focus is durability at scale, not comfort at the individual level. And this is where the consumer pattern becomes clear again. Products like Genuine Joe don't win your attention. They win their place in bulk systems. Once a product becomes part of institutional buying, offices, restaurants, cleaning services, individual experience stops being the priority. So the genuine in the name isn't really about emotional honesty, it's more about positioning itself as the practical, no-nonsense option in environments where nobody is supposed to think too deeply about the product anyway. Number 4, choice. Choice is one of those brands that sounds like it's giving you freedom, but in reality, it's doing the exact opposite in a very subtle way. Because when a product literally names itself choice, your brain kind of stops questioning what the other options even are. And that's the first layer of this. It doesn't feel like a brand trying to impress you. It feels like a label trying to simplify your decision. You're in a store, you want something cheap, something basic, and suddenly, this name choice looks like it's already solved the problem for you. No thinking required. But here's the reality behind that simplicity. Products in this category are usually built for mass retail shelves, where the focus is on standardization rather than uniqueness. That means predictable materials, cost-controlled production, and a design philosophy that prioritizes availability over experience. In real use, choice napkins do exactly what you'd expect. They handle light cleaning, small spills, and everyday basic use. But they don't try to elevate anything. There's no extra softness that stands out, no premium texture, no "this feels better than expected" moment. It's purely functional. And that's where the consumer psychology gets interesting again. When a product is branded as choice, it subtly removes the idea of comparison. Instead of asking, "is this the best option?" your brain shifts to, "this is an option." And once that happens, the decision is already half made. So the name sounds empowering, but the reality is more controlled. It doesn't expand your choices. It quietly narrows your thinking to one acceptable default. Number 3, Lavex. Ever noticed how some brands don't even look like they're meant for you as a regular shopper? Lavex is exactly one of those names. It doesn't sit on the shelf trying to catch your eye. It feels like it belongs in the background of a supply order sheet, not a normal grocery run. And that's the first clue about what this product really is. Lavex is built for bulk use environments, places where napkins are not about experience, but about repetition. Restaurants, cleaning services, commercial spaces, the kind of places where nobody is evaluating softness or texture, they just need something that works hundreds of times a day. So naturally, the design follows that logic. The focus is on cost control, consistency, and basic performance under heavy use. Not a luxury feel, not premium softness, not "wow, this feels nice" moments, just dependable functionality at scale. In real-world use, Lavex napkins do exactly what they are supposed to do. They handle spills, basic cleaning, and everyday mess without breaking apart immediately. But they don't try to create any sense of comfort or upgrade in experience. They're built to disappear into the task. And this is the interesting part. When you take something designed for commercial systems and look at it through a personal use lens, it can feel underwhelming. But that's not really a flaw. It's a mismatch of purpose. Number 2, royal paper. The word royal already does half the work here. Before you even see the product, your brain starts building an expectation of something elevated, something better, something closer to premium. And that's exactly where brands like Royal Paper quietly win attention without doing much. But then you actually look at where this type of brand lives in the real world, and the picture becomes more practical than royal. These are not luxury lifestyle products sitting in curated homes. They're often part of bulk supply chains, food service setups, and everyday utility use, where consistency matters more than presentation. And that gap between name and reality is where consumer perception gets interesting. Because Royal Paper doesn't really compete by being emotionally rich or experience-driven. It competes by being available, cost-controlled, and functional enough for repeated daily use. In most cases, the design is built around one goal: to hold up during normal cleaning tasks without falling apart immediately. So in real use, it does what napkins are supposed to do: wipe, clean, absorb basic spills, nothing more, nothing less. There's no attempt to create a premium feel or a noticeable upgrade in texture experience. It stays firmly in the utility zone, and that's the subtle pattern here again. The branding suggests status, but the product reality is grounded in function. Not bad, not extraordinary, just practical. Number 1, the occasions group. Some brands don't even feel like they were designed for you as a consumer, and the occasions group is exactly one of those names. It doesn't sound like something you pick off a shelf. It sounds like something you're assigned through a system, like events, catering, or large-scale supply orders, where the product is just part of a bigger setup. And that's the first thing that makes it interesting from a consumer perspective. Because once a product is tied to occasions instead of everyday personal choice, the mindset completely changes. You're no longer dealing with emotional buying, preference, or comparison. You're dealing with function, scale, and consistency across repeated use cases, weddings, events, food service, and bulk hospitality setups. So naturally, napkins under this type of branding are built with that environment in mind. The focus is not on premium softness or a personal comfort experience. It's about reliability under pressure, handling high volume, quick cleanups, and repeated handling without structural failure. In real-world terms, they do the job. They're meant to exist in the background of events where nobody is paying attention to the napkin itself. People are focused on food, guests, timing, not texture or feel, and that's the key idea here. The occasions group isn't trying to compete in the consumer product mindset at all. It operates in a completely different space where products are judged by how invisible they can stay while still performing their role. But don't worry, it's not all bad. There are actually 5 napkin brands that are more reliable, higher quality, and worth your money, starting with number 5, Tork. You don't usually shop for Tork the way you shop for normal household napkins. You mostly notice it in places where things are meant to function smoothly without anyone thinking too much about them. Offices, restaurants, public spaces. That's where this brand quietly exists. And that already gives you a clue about what it's built for. Tork is designed for consistency in high-use environments. Instead of focusing on fancy, softness, or emotional branding, it focuses on something more practical. Reliable absorbency and controlled performance when used repeatedly by different people throughout the day. In real use, the difference shows up in small but important ways. It doesn't feel flimsy or unpredictable. It holds up better to spills and routine cleaning, especially in busy environments where basic napkins usually fail too quickly. So Tork isn't trying to feel like a premium lifestyle product. It's built as a functional system piece, something that quietly supports hygiene and efficiency without drawing attention to itself. Number 4, 7th generation. Some brands don't sell a product, they sell a mindset. 7th generation is exactly that kind of name. The moment you see it, you don't just think napkins. You start thinking about the environment, sustainability, and doing something better without even checking the details. And that's where the positioning is really smart. This brand is closely associated with eco-conscious household products, which immediately changes how people perceive it. Even before performance comes into the picture, there's already a sense that this is a responsible choice. That emotional layer plays a big role in why people pick it over more basic options. In real use, 7th generation napkins are designed with sustainability in mind, often using recycled materials or more environmentally friendly processes than conventional paper products. The texture and feel may differ slightly from ultra-processed soft napkins, but that's part of the trade-off between eco-focused production and conventional softness engineering. What makes it interesting is the psychology behind it. People don't just buy it for wiping spills, they buy into the idea that their everyday habits are slightly less harmful to the environment. So the product becomes more than a utility item. It becomes a small lifestyle statement. Number 3, Georgia Pacific. Let's be honest. You've probably used products from companies like this your whole life without ever really noticing the name behind them. Georgia Pacific is exactly that kind of hidden presence in the paper goods world. Instead of being a single napkin brand you choose directly, it works more like an umbrella manufacturer behind multiple household and commercial paper products. So the brand identity isn't about emotional appeal or flashy marketing. It's about large-scale production and consistent supply. In real use, that means reliability. The products linked to this system are designed to perform the same way every time, whether they're used in homes, offices, or busy commercial environments. You're not dealing with unpredictable quality shifts. You're dealing with standardized output built for volume and consistency. And that's the real value here. It doesn't try to impress you. It ensures things keep working in the background without disruption. Number 2, Naptek. Let's talk about a brand that doesn't really try to sell a lifestyle. It just shows up in the background of everyday practicality. Naptek is one of those names you usually notice in bulk buying environments or commercial supply setups, not in flashy retail moments. And that already sets the tone for what it is. Naptek is built for functional paper use, where the main priority isn't luxury feel or emotional branding, but straightforward performance. It's the kind of product that businesses and institutions pick when they need something consistent, cost-controlled, and dependable across repeated daily use. In real-world use, Naptek napkins do what they're supposed to do without much drama. They handle basic spills, cleaning tasks, and general usage in environments where efficiency matters more than experience. You're not expecting a soft luxury feel here. You're expecting something that simply works every single time. And that's the key point. Naptek doesn't compete on personality or branding emotion. It competes on practicality. It sits in that category where reliability matters more than appearance, and predictability matters more than surprise. Number 1. Cascades Pro. Let's end this list with a brand you probably don't think about in daily life, but you definitely benefit from without realizing it. Cascades PRO is one of those names that lives more in the system behind the scenes than in your typical shopping decision. And that already tells you what kind of category we're dealing with. Cascades Pro is built for professional and commercial paper solutions, the kind of environments where napkins aren't about style or softness, but about consistency, hygiene, and constant usage. You'll find products like this in food service, workplaces, and institutional settings where performance must remain stable during periods of high demand. In real use, the experience is straightforward. These napkins are designed to handle repeated everyday tasks without breaking down or becoming unreliable. They're not trying to feel luxurious or emotionally appealing. They're designed to stay functional under pressure and heavy use. And that's what makes them stand out in this safe, better category. Cascades PRO doesn't rely on branding tricks or lifestyle positioning. It focuses on structured quality control and dependable output, which is exactly what large-scale users need. So instead of being something you notice, it's something that quietly works in the background. No hype, no illusion, just consistent performance where it actually matters.